Hello, I'm Sarah with the dailymail.com video desk, and this is Facebook Live in New York. We're here today with Danielle Grillo of Transitions Hair Solutions. And Danielle, you're here to talk to us about your work here with 3D prosthetic custom pieces.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about what you do and what we're looking at here.
What we do at Transitions is we do all aspects of non-surgical hair replacement, which is replacing somebody's hair without the use of surgery. So how the 3D prosthetic comes in is because it's something very different than a traditional hair piece or wig. Because what happens is we take very precise measurements of the client's head. And then from there, we can actually choose their scalp color, their hair direction, as well as the thickness of the strand of their hair and the thickness overall of the piece, the texture, wave, straightness, everything. So, and it's all, because it's all natural, as we call natural virgin hair, meaning the cuticle is still intact, not like some wigs that have processed hair. There's no processing whatsoever, so it's all natural colors. You can have your hair colored, low lights, highlights.
Wow, that sounds great.
Yeah, it's an exact duplicate of your existing hair before you went through hair loss. And the base itself is an exact replica of your scalp due to the 3D printing aspect of it. Once we do all these measurements and have all the components of the color, the blah, 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 all that stuff, we send the actual molds we take to the factory in Italy. It's in Bologna, Italy. Now, what happens there is they take the measurements. We have two different molds, that we make. This one is the initial design. These two have to match perfectly. This then gets read by the 3D printer. And what happens from here, the reason why it needs to be so precise is because they actually print out a duplicate of somebody's head.
Wow.
This is an exact replica of somebody's head, and then the piece from there is literally made on this 3D printed scalp.
So I just want to remind everyone that's watching that ask questions at any time. We'll be taking questions. And just go ahead and tell me, so how did you get this? Like, where's that come from?
I made it. No. This comes from when we send in all of the measurements and the mold. This is what's made at the factory for them to produce the actual prosthetic on. So essentially, for example, say this was your head. This is the measurements of your head exactly, every bump and groove. The piece is technically made on your scalp, even though, unfortunately, your head is not in Italy, but your 3D produced head is, yeah. Exactly. So then the piece is made on here, which is why it is, it's like a second skin. There is no bumps, grooves once it's applied onto the client's head because of the exact measurements and due to the 3D printing of the actual scalp.
So I can't imagine how much better that must be than just if you were to just take a hairpiece and a generic hairpiece and put it on your head.
It's very different. It becomes more part of you because the scalp itself, if you see on here, the scalp portion, which we would choose to each individual client, this scalp matches the client's scalp. So when the wind blows, it's seamless. So it's their scalp to their scalp. Imagine if the top of the head was thin. Now I'm replacing the top of their head, the top portion of where their thinning area is, in this particular case. And then the hair itself blends in with their own existing. So their hair here now matches their hair here. So the wind blows, anything happens, it's fine. And this scalp itself, if you were to magnify this, the only thing missing from here is blood vessels. It looks exactly.
And who's missing that, really? We have a question. Go ahead.
Kathleen would like to know, how long does it take to get the wig once measured?
How long does it take to actually have the prosthetic made? It takes it's about a 12-week turnaround time. But what is the nice thing though is if it's for someone that is going through chemotherapy or cancer treatment, we can actually have that expedited if necessary, because usually that's more of a time-sensitive issue, just dependent on the availability of hair and color and things like that.
Tana would like to know, is this actually in the market at the minute?
It absolutely is in the market. It is. We've been providing this service for almost 3 years now.
You're based out of New Jersey, right?
We are based out of New Jersey, yes. We actually have a client here with us today.
We have a model.
Yes. And Sherry's actually, she's actually wearing one right now.
That looks incredible. I mean, I don't know if they can really see the detail, but it's really shiny. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and it's just as if it's just as if it's her own.
Why don't you do a hair toss for us?
Yeah.
You see that? You see that? Wow. You're
Yeah.
good at this. You've done this
And-
before.
Yep. Sherry
Looks
has, she had hair loss due to, she went through well, you want to tell your story? Yeah. Why don't you tell your story?
Okay, I had lung cancer 5 years ago. So after my chemo and radiation, they did precautionary radiation to my brain, and that made my hair follicles die. So it came in much, much thinner, big gaps, baldness in areas, and I just wasn't going to live like that after surviving cancer. And being a cancer survivor, I said, no, I got to do something that's going to make me happy. And I found Danielle, thank God.
A lot of people are asking how this compares to a wig. How do you feel? Have you tried a wig on?
Yes, I've had wigs on when I went through the chemo. And you don't even feel it once you put it on, because the wigs go over your ears, they're hot, they're annoying. The wind blows, you can see a part of it. It doesn't look natural. I mean, they just look fake. I'm sorry. Compared to this, they look fake. This is great. I can go swimming, I can work out, and nobody knows.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fantastic. It really is.
And I'm a little bit curious, like, cost. How much does it compare to, like, I know wigs can actually get very, very expensive in the store, so.
Well, it would depend on what kind of wig we're comparing it to. I mean, there's very high-end European, beautiful, beautiful wigs. The difference is with this, it's because it's made custom for every individual, everyone's would be different. It comes down to the square centimeter of the area needing coverage. So from the smallest, the small, to a full entire head. So the price range can vary considerably. I mean, you could start at something like $2,500 and go, go way up, depending on.
Sherry, are you comfortable telling us how much you paid, or? No. Okay, fair enough. I asked.
Yeah, it varies.
Alan would like to know, how did you come up with the idea of this, and is it for people who only have cancer, or is it available for anyone who has an illness where they lose their hair?
Okay, that's a good question. I did not come up with this idea. I would love to say that I did. It was actually brought to my attention from the manufacturer, the factory CR Lab in Bologna. They had presented this wonderful product to us, and we jumped on it immediately about 3 years ago. So no, it is not just for cancer patients or survivors. We actually, in my center, we see people with all different forms of alopecia, whether it's androgenetic, totalis, or universalis, areata, all of the alopecias, any cicatricial alopecia, forms of frontal fibrosing, and all sorts of things. We see people that have hormonal issues, thyroid problems, burn victims. It's for anyone that is experiencing any type of hair loss. It can absolutely be for you as well. It can be something very small to something that covers the entire scalp.
And Dolores wants to know, do you ask what people like and then go from there, or are they already pre-made and then you tailor them to someone's head?
They are absolutely fully custom. I ask you, what is your lifestyle? What did your hair look like before? What did you like about it? What did you hate about it? Anything. It's us having a conversation about what your expectations are. What do you want to look like? And then it's my job to tell you, yes, is this possible, is this not? With this prosthetic, you can absolutely have your hair back that you used to have. Again, like, unless you hated it, yes, we can change it completely. So it's absolutely fully custom.
Rocca wants to know, do you ship worldwide? And Nigel would like to know, how do you wash them / clean them?
Okay, so the first question is, it's not about me shipping it. What happens is, excuse me, we have, in my center, people would come in for the consultation. We go through the consultation process, then the parameters, which is the fitting. From there, we need to have you in front of us to actually have this consultation and decide what it is that you're going to, what is your final look going to be. We then do your fitting, and then we ship the actual molding and all of the everything, the colors and all of the details of your order. We ship it to the factory in Italy. It takes about 12 weeks to make. It comes back to us. Then you return to us to then have it applied, cut, and all of that. Then what happens, as far as the other question was cleaning?
How does it clean?
Oh, okay. How does it clean? You will wash this just like you wash your own existing hair, because remember, it is now a second scalp. You will live in this. You will shower in this, just like your own hair in the shower, just this way. You then will blow dry it or not. Act like it is your own existing hair, because now it is. It's your new hair.
Rocco wants to know, have you experienced any side effects from wearing the wig? Or the second scalp?
No, I haven't had any side effects at all. It's fine. You don't even know it's on. Once you get it on, you forget about it. I mean, you just completely forget about it. I used to have something prior to that came on and off. And I would go in the house and I would go to remove it. Mm-hmm. And now you just forget about it. You know, do whatever you gotta do.
Is it easy for you to style your hair? Can you style your hair very easily? Can you do any hairstyle you want, or are there only certain styles that you can do it?
Just as easy as doing my own hair. Mm-hmm. Straight, curly. You want to color it, you color it. You want it shorter, you cut it shorter. Same thing.
Can I just speak to the point of are there any side effects? I wanted to just point out that the actual base itself is antifungal, antibacterial, and any adhesives or tapes that we would use to adhere is all dermatologically tested, as well as the base of the prosthetic itself. So it's very scalp friendly. It's made for this. It's made for people that some people may have some scalp issue, so it's made to be something that's more gentle for them to be able to wear. And as far as, back to I just wanted to say something about that other man's question about it being shipped. We have centers throughout the U.S. they're like me, all individually owned. We are all partners of CR Lab. I think it's about 19, 20 centers within the U.S. and also all over in Europe, that if somebody did have a need and they wanted to have further information, I would absolutely be happy to help them, point them in the right direction of a center that might be closer to them, that they could absolutely visit my website, and I would happily help them out.
Okay, and we'll go through all those details towards the end. Go ahead.
Lots and lots of questions. Nigel wants to know, how long do they last on average? And Lisa wants to know, I know that we've covered money and the cost, but can you give a low and top end price range?
Okay, so back to Nigel. What was this question? How long does it last? That will depend on, it's hard to say when it comes down to client wear, how they treat it, how do they treat their hair previously. What we do, it's usually you would have more than one in rotation, which is the best way to get the best wear and best life out of them. So for example, say you had two pieces and you would rotate them every month, because you would come in for a service every month to have them removed and applied. Mm-hmm. So if you come in and have them continually rotated, it would generally about 2 pieces, 2 years, something like that. So it could be up to, but again, someone else could destroy something in 4 months. It depends on the person. So when in rotation, you get very good wear out of them. So I can't give them an exact how long would it last, but the better you take care of something, the better obviously it would last.
Now, do you recommend people have more than one?
I would recommend someone to have more than one of anything that they were wearing as far as the prosthetics go, just because it's going to be your everyday hair. So what would happen if something happened to it? Something random off the wall happened to it, or you got in the oven, or anything. Yeah. What would you do? Now this is your everyday hair. I would absolutely recommend someone to have more than one of anything.
Okay, and I believe Lisa was asking about cost, the range. Okay.
Like I said, it's about smallest to largest. For example, say something was small and it was around the range of $2,500. You could go up to $10,000. It's a really vast range, because when you're dealing with different, like for example, we have here, these are 2 different sizes. This is a full cap and this is the top of the head. It could be something. What if you just needed like a little something? It's very different. It could vary for sure.
And then the length too, is that part of that?
Well, I'm sorry, what was that?
The length, is that also part of?
Yes, it's about the size and the length as well.
Okay.
For sure, that's two things that would come into play. And, I mean, there's other, depending on what you're doing in hair replacement, I mean, there are some solutions that could be $300, then that go up to, you know, $10,000. It's because there's so many different options for people, whether it be the 3D prosthetic, whether it be something else. Everyone has a different hair loss issue. There is not one size fits all for sure. So it could be very different. Someone can come into me and have a consultation about something else completely different, and it would be, their pricing would be different from yours or mine. Or it's very custom to each
That
client.
totally makes
Yeah.
sense. Go ahead.
Tricia wants to know, you said it was like a second scalp. How does it attach to your head? Does it attach to the existing hair?
Very good question. It does it if you have hair, like how women thin, they diffuse throughout, but they keep their hairline in the shell of their hair. You do not have to remove any of your existing hair. You do not have to cut it. You do not have to shave it. It can actually still be molded to your head within consideration that you have some hair there. What we would do is use a dermatologically tested medical adhesive, and we would put it on your hair. For example, I would just show you. This is Sherry's actual head. This is exactly how she's attached. She has hair, like she was saying, she has some of the patchiness from the radiation. So what we do with her is right around her perimeter, all of her hair underneath is combed down, so she can incorporate that with her prosthetic. All of her hair is combed down. We put the adhesive around the perimeter of her hair and scalp. It's dried and then pressed in. So what it looks like is that she has like a crown. Princess. Like she has a crown on her head of adhesive. Same thing goes on the opposite, it goes on the piece as well, on the underside of her piece. Same perimeter. And then they are put together. So it's flush, with hair or without hair underneath, it doesn't matter. You can have no hair, you can be completely bald, or you can still have your existing hair. It can be applied to both.
How is it applied? Like, how does it actually stay there?
With the medical adhesive.
Okay.
Yes. What I was saying about Sherry she has a perimeter, and we don't have to cover the whole entire head with adhesive. It's not necessary because the piece is made so flush to her head. So we do the perimeter with the adhesive, and then we put the piece on it. Like, for example, I'll show you here, maybe to be easier visual. We don't put pins in the client's head, by the way.
That is not how it's kept on.
Well, except for Sherry. No, we don't. Just for an example, I'll show you. This piece, this head, just a little top of the head. So what we would do with this, again, same as Sherry, put the adhesive around the perimeter of the existing hair, comb down. Now remember, it's thinner hair because they have some hair loss. And on the base of the piece as well goes the adhesive right around the perimeter.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Can you see this? Can they see this?
And that's the bottom part of the base. For example, the color of the bottom, that could be green, blue, it doesn't matter. It's literally just to seal. And you'll see it has tiny holes in it for ventilation, but the piece itself, like I was saying, is antifungal and antibacterial. It's also gas permeable, so it goes with the heat of your body. So it's not like a traditional wig that may trap heat in and make you feel very hot. You don't feel hotter for wearing this. If you're hot, you're hot. You know,
Right,
if you're
yeah.
cold, you're cold, you know. So what I was saying about applying, so envision that we have this adhesive around the perimeter and also the perimeter of this. Envision I also have gloves on. But so then would be in her area. We would roll it down. We don't stretch it. It's not necessary because it's going to go right into its place. And even though you just saw me put this on, but if you run your hand here, you don't feel, there is no lip.
No,
Because it's made for this head.
that is Sherry's head.
Yes. This one's Sherry's head. This
Oh,
one.
sorry.
This is Sherry's friend. No. This one's Sherry's head, but her hair is on her head, and we can't take it off because she's on there. She's solid. So she can go dive in the water right now, and this is not going anywhere. Wait. No.
Oh, no.
No, she's on. She's very good.
Someone would like to know what the hair is made from. What's the
What
hair
the-
quality? What's it made from?
The hair quality is, what I was saying before, is natural hair. When I say natural virgin hair, meaning it's unprocessed natural hair, as if someone had a beautiful ponytail and someone cut it off. It's virgin, unprocessed hair, and it has its cuticle intact. So that's where it's coming from. It's not a man-made, it's not a fiber. It's human, natural human hair only. They don't use anything else.
Adam wants to know, what if you sweat? Is it breathable?
Yes, if you're sweating, you're not going to sweat any more than you did. It's not going to make you hotter. So yes, if you're sweating, you sweat. It's normal. It's not going to trap your heat in and overheat you. No. And to his point about sweating and oils and things like that, when people come in for their monthly service, we also really pay attention to their scalp health. Their existing hair is important to us. Their scalp health is important to us. When the piece comes off, we actually do a scalp treatment on them because we want to remedy any dryness or oiliness that was pre-existing prior to them having this. Because what it does, it makes the piece stay on better. It makes for a more comfortable, say if they go 4 weeks, it makes for a more comfortable time that they're wearing it until they come in for service. So we try to remedy any of their scalp issues as well, even though they're covering their scalp and wearing something.
Can the hair be dyed, or is it a set colour from Nigel?
Oh, hi Nigel. It is not a set color. It is a color, yes, that you choose this color, like say you chose this color. This color is found in nature. Yes, you can highlight it, you can low light it, you can turn it purple if you want to, because it accepts color because it is natural hair. So it can absolutely be colored any which way you'd like.
Lauren wants to know, obviously we've seen you putting the hair on, how would you take the hair off?
How would we take the hair off? Good question. We actually, because if there's hair underneath, and we want to keep that hair, we actually soak it off with a very gentle solvent that's made for the scalp. So once we soak the piece away from the hair, the piece, it gets cleaned. It also goes into its own disinfectant bath with its own solution. So it's any sebum, any scalp, any dryness from the month, it's all completely hygienic once again. Your scalp, we remove all of the adhesive with the solvent, then we clean the scalp and the hair, and we do a scalp treatment, as I was saying, whether you're oily or dry or somewhere in between. We do a scalp treatment on you, and then, so it's like a little spa treatment for your head. And then you're cleaned, and the adhesive is applied once again, and you're put back together.
A lot of commenters are asking how they can help or support the work that you do as a company.
What was that? I'm sorry.
A lot of people in the comments are asking how they can help or support the work that you do and the company.
How can they help and support? Just get the word out. You can go to go to my website, tell people about us.
Why don't you go ahead and say your name and where you...
Oh, okay. It's our website is transitionshairsolutions.com. Tell anyone that you know that could benefit from this type of solution. That would help greatly to get the word out. It would help others for sure.
So here it says hand injected. What does that exactly mean? I've been waiting to ask
It
that.
literally means there is a woman or a man sitting, they hand inject it into the base. Yeah.
Okay. So that's just like kind of putting it together.
Yes,
like that.
like I was saying, once it's this is 3D printed, the rest is manual. Like it's a 39-step process to actually make one of these. Yes,
Wow.
and the Italians are very, very pay attention to detail. They're amazing. The whole factory is amazing, and the people that work in there are amazing. It's literally hand injected. They're going through and putting it in according to your hair growth pattern, to the design that we chose for you.
So there's like a little blueprint or something, and then they're
In
kind
a
of following
sense,
it?
yeah, because if you figure, if you have a head, what if you have you have some dips or grooves? They take that in consideration when they're doing it. So that's how the hair is implanted according to your scalp.
Very cool. So you've been doing this about 3 years, you
Yes,
said, right?
yes.
And have you found that it's getting more and more common? Are more people ordering these? And-
Yes, the more that we get the word out about it, that there is something that is so advanced available, so advanced and so natural, the more people that know about it, the more people are saying, I wish I had this 10 years ago. So as technology advances, of course, we would want to offer something that is better than what people have now. I mean, and we would just keep on telling people, spreading the word about it, because it is something that I think could help so many people with so many different forms of hair loss, just to get their life back. Like Sierra Lab always says, live life without compromise, and it's true, because a lot of people that have hair loss and they have done something, say they had a piece or something, they're still thinking about it. Like if I was wearing a wig, would I want to go swimming? I can't.
Right.
I can't go surfing. I can't do anything like that. So I'm still thinking about it. I might look good, but I'm still thinking about it. I want something that I'm not going to think about it until the time I have to come in and have service done. Sherry runs. I mean, I have plenty of clients. They surf, they ride motorcycles, they do all sorts of things. They don't think about their hair. And when they come up out of the water, their hair looks normal. Like it's a normal, messy, saltwater, you know, but it's natural looking. It's not phony looking. You don't have to come out and say, oh my God, I wonder if something's showing. Sure. It's completely different. And that makes me feel so good because they're so happy. They actually feel like themselves again. They're, you know, from being so sad and so depressed, and they're just, to watch someone transform from just being depressed about their hair loss to watch them turn back into the person that they once were, that's probably the best feeling in the world.
That's great. So how many men do you sell these to? Curious.
50-50.
Okay,
Yeah,
so it's like half
yeah,
men, half
absolutely, half men, half women. Because you know, a lot of times, of course, it's more acceptable for a man not to be bald. But hey, you know what? If they want some cool hair, why not? You know, they shouldn't be.
I noticed we had a lot of guys asking questions. That's why I'm wondering.
Well, you know, what's funny. What the great thing about this is you know how everyone's always looking at the English footballers for hairstyles. Do you know how many guys that we've had come in and because they have hair loss, they can't do that style, but now they can. We have 3 coming up they're waiting for their hair to come in, and now we can't wait because it's so great to be able to give them any hairstyle they want without having to say, ooh, well, I don't know if we should, you know, we can go this high or this low. That's fantastic.
Awesome. Any more questions? No. Okay. What is one thing that you would really like people to know that you haven't said yet?
What would I want people to know?
And Sherry, you be thinking too. Otherwise, you're just going to have to toss your hair for 30 seconds.
I want people to know that if you feel like you have any kind of hair loss problem, don't wait. Don't wait. Don't feel bad about it. Don't feel like, oh my God, I'm so vain, or that you shouldn't allow yourself to want to look better. Do something. Call now. Do something about it now. Don't wait until you've suffered for 5 years and you've changed your life, and don't feel badly about being depressed about it. It's a part of you. It's very personal. Just know it's okay to feel badly about it if you have hair loss. It's okay to reach out, and it's okay to talk about it, and that they're not alone. And we're here, and many of my colleagues around the world are here as well. So there is absolutely help out there for anyone with any type of hair loss.
Great. Thank you so much. Anything you'd like to add?
She basically covered it all.
All right. Thank you, ladies, so much for coming in. It was
Thank
great.
you. Thank you for having me.
And again, this is Facebook Live, dailymail.com in New York. Take care.